Theo here, standing beside Executive Director Mr. Adam Wedlake. Adam, this is a gorgeous gym. I just noted that how easy it is to hear you and I talk, and there's not a large echo, even though this gym. How many gyms is this building, really?
Well, this is the Canada Games Sport for Life Center where we are, and it's 3 courts for basketball. There's multiple other courts. Other sports can use it for other use, but we see it as 3 full basketball courts, FIBA size, international size court. That we're here. Daytime it's relatively quiet, but evenings and weekends we're booking this place usually a year in advance to get in here.
It's a very busy place, like you said, whether it be camps, whether it be special guests, whether it be whoever comes in to Winnipeg. They're hosting a clinic. We're having coaches symposiums in here. Always a great facility to use.
Awesome place to have. It's the legacy of the Canada Games that was here 2 years ago. So for us to have this here in Manitoba is godsend.
And it's nice and shiny. I mean, it's nice and clean. I like it.
The floors were just redone. It's typically you do them every second year, so we're just only about a month since they've been redone, so they are nice and clean and shiny, ready for another season.
And they are multi-sport, as you can see. There's volleyball, there's the side courts. I'm sure there's badminton lines in here as well.
Yeah. So it is a multi-sport facility. Obviously, our eyes see it as basketball. We can play. We have our 3-on-3 championships here as well. So we're able to play. We have 14 half courts we can play in here. So 14 games at once in the 3-on-3 format.
So we talked to Wyatt Anders a couple weeks back, and he was off to Edmonton. You said there was also a Beausejour team. Before we get to that, what else was going on in September in the month that was?
Well, September for us, we had a lot of it's really it's the gearing up to the season. Right now, a lot of basketball registrations going on for our youth programming, getting people going. A lot of coaching and referee clinics, just getting our seasons ready. So that's really the month of September is kind of just getting ourselves ready, which come October, which we're in right now, is when things really start opening up for us.
So this is the hustle month to get everything organized, the volunteers, the coaches, the scheduling is most important as well. So let's talk now about Edmonton. We had a team with Wyatt Anders from Winnipeg. We also had a second team, you said, from Beausejour.
Yeah. So we had 2 teams. It was called the FIBA 3x3 Challenger, was they call them, which is an international event. They had teams, top international 3-on-3 teams from across the world that come to this. It was, I believe, 4 out of the 12 teams were from Canada, and 2 were from Manitoba. So we were lucky to have a team based out of Winnipeg, one based out of Beausejour, that both won earlier qualifying events to get themselves there. They both finished sort of middle of the pack, but still to be considered a top 12 team, sort of mainly from North America at this level, was an achievement its own.
So a great achievement for both squads. The 3-on-3 game, much different than the 5-on-5 game. A lot faster. It's a lot shorter, too. It's only about a quarter of the time, right? So
yeah, they're 10-minute games versus a 40-minute game, so they're very quick. Also, the shot clock time, as opposed to being a 24-second shot clock, it's 12, so everything's really cut in half, which really just speeds everything up, and it's an exciting game to watch.
So you and I usually we're pretty casual in our attire when we do these things every month. Did you have to dress up last weekend?
We had to dress up last Saturday. We had our nice segue into that. We had our annual Hall of Fame dinner back just this last Saturday at the Victorian Hotel. We only do these every second year, and it's awesome to go back in time. It's definitely a reunion for a lot of people to get together and celebrate those that were a big part of our game. So we were able to induct sort of 2, they weren't single teams, but we had 2 groups, one out of Sprague, Manitoba, Rossell Grace School. It was a girls basketball teams in the late 70s and 80s that won, I believe it was 8 championships almost in a row. And then we had a team out of Dauphin from the late 70s that won 3 provincial championships in about 4 or 5 years. And so we were able to honor those 2 teams, and then we had a number of other individuals, some former Westman players, some former Bobcat players from Brandon, Mike Vera, and Beleda Gefe, who was from the University of Winnipeg, Mark Mulder, who played at the University of Winnipeg, sort of all players in that 1980s vintage, if you want to call them, and then a number of builders. And those are the broad sense that could be a mix of coaches, volunteers, administrators, that were all recognized on Saturday night. So a special night, one we don't do every year, and all of them are honored that evening, but then archived or enshrined, I guess. We have the Manitoba Basketball Hall of Fame, which is located at the Duckworth Center at the University of Winnipeg, so that all that information gets presented and displayed there.
So there's evidence of you either wearing a tie, a bow tie, or going black
jacket,
tie.
maybe
The jacket.
Yeah.
He's going still business cash. Adam, last but not least, we talk about the importance of the builders, doing everything from the ground up, and not just necessarily for the players of the Hall of Fame, but we also have to take care of the coaches. And we have a coaches symposium coming up here at the end of October.
Right, it's our annual event. It's our kickoff to the season, coming up the last third weekend of October. Basketball Manitoba Super Coaches Clinic. We're at the University of Winnipeg at the Duckworth Center, like I just mentioned, and we've got 3 coaches coming from outside the country, outside the province. One from Calgary, Dave Love, his name is, who's an NBA shooting coach who works individually with NBA players. We're lucky enough to get him here. He's doing a day-long camp as well on that same weekend in this very gym with kids. And then we got 2 coaches out of the Florida area. One's been here before, Brian McCormick, and the other one, Brianna Finch, who is actually his wife. They're sort of a tandem group that coaches at a university in Florida as well. They both do and are doing, along with Kirby Shep, who's our men's basketball coach at the University of Manitoba, and Gil Chung from Brandon University is in that weekend as well to play in a tournament. So those 5 coaches will lead us for 2 days on a variety of topics and get our coaches ready. It's a perfect storm weekend for us because it's the SAGE in-service day, which is the province-wide in-service day for all teachers. So on the Friday, we're full of teachers. On Saturday, we're full of mostly our host league community club coaches. A lot of them come to both, and it's a great weekend because most things start the next weekend. So it's a great weekend to get our coaches up to speed on what's going on and ready for another season.
So I know what SAGE Day is because that's October 25th, 26th, 27th, and the season starts thereafter. Any more information can be found where?
Our website's the best place, basketballmanitoba.ca, or follow us on our social media platforms, Basketball MB.
Fabulous, Mr. Wedlake. Always great to chat with you. We'll find out about the coaches clinic that occurs at the end of October, and we'll see you early November.
Sounds good. We'll see you then.
I'm going to admire this shiny floor a little bit. It's gorgeous. It's almost as good as the drive-through forehead I have, boss?